But what about the moments when you really hit a storm? I'm not talking a broken foot on a slightly bumpy lake, but maybe more like a hurricane. Setbacks, criticism, crisis, or fatigue. What if you get burned out in the business that you started because you had been burned out? We are jumping into the second to the last letter of the sailing system, the letter N, about navigating the storms. Building resilience, overcoming setbacks, managing stress, leading through adversity, and sustaining momentum during tough times. Welcome to Beyond the Business Plan. I'm LeAnn Lyon, your guide on this journey to success. We will explore the inspiring stories of visionary leaders and groundbreaking entrepreneurs and unveil the tools and strategies that can empower you to manage your business from anywhere in the world. Join me, LeAnn, as we learn, laugh, and take the leap towards unleashing your joyful business journey. And let's make it happen now. What if the real test of your entrepreneurial journey isn't what you're dreaming about at the beginning, but how you handle the curveballs, the setbacks, and I gotta say it, the storms along the way? Maybe life, business, or self-doubt has knocked you off course. But what if those tough moments could be your greatest teachers? Today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about bouncing back, staying nimble, and forging real resilience. So you don't just have to survive the journey. I mean, really, what fun is that? But emerge wiser, stronger, and more equipped to grow. By the way, that's part of the next episode next time. If you've ever wondered if you have what it takes when things get rough, this episode is for you. And this is the fourth episode in our 5-part sailing system series. So if you'd like to revisit the big picture, go on back to episode 22 of this season, and you can see the whole system overview. Today, we're diving into the next 2 stages called How to Integrate and Adapt, which is about developing new habits, staying flexible, learning as you're going, and how to navigate the storms, building real resilience to keep moving forward even when challenges arise. Now, you might not be at this stage. Maybe you're still like in the dreaming stage. You're back, or you're kind of not even telling anybody about this stage. That's fine. This is still your episode because this is something you need to be prepared for. This will happen as you launch a business. Sorry to say it, but I guarantee it. There is no such thing as clear, perfect sailing every single day. So my sincere hope is that this episode does find you right where you're at the right moment in your journey. If you are going through some storms, if you are navigating, I thought it was going to be this way, and now I'm course correcting that way, then this episode is for you as well. Every insight I share is meant to support you right where you are. And as always, if you're looking for more tools or you want to connect more personally, you'll find all of my contact information below. So you ready to keep sailing? Let's jump in. I can't help it. I'm so corny with all the analogies, but I am kind of a water baby. I love it. And I love boating. And so if I'm your person, we're here together. You don't have to like to swim, but let's make sure that you're not choosing between sinking or swimming. Let's go. Okay, the first one, I for integrate and adapt. Now, in the sailing system, there's really 2 letter I's. This is the second one called integrate and adapt. And this is where you adjust on the fly, like most of us do in pretty much everyday life. You wake up in the morning and you have plans for the day. And like I'm in Minnesota, it suddenly is snowing in the middle of winter or downpouring rain in the middle of summer. You make plans months in advance for your family reunion in August, and you get to the day and it's freezing cold or it's downpouring rain. You always are adapting. So why would business be any different? So that's definitely happened in my life as well. I'll share a couple, real world experiences. Let's say you've started a business, you know exactly what you want to do, and you've tested it out. You found a few people, they need what you have. You're like, this is going to go great. And as you go into it, you find out that, wow, you don't really maybe want to serve that particular client. They have a few different challenges than you expected, and you need to rethink what you're doing and who you're serving. Or oh, there's so many ways that this can this can unfold. You've put up a website someplace, and then you find out that it's not all that you thought it was going to be, and you can do a better one someplace else. Or you jump onto one particular social media thinking you're going to find lots of your perfect client there, but they're not. There's so many ways that we can find ourselves in a situation where we have to adapt, where you're integrating what you're doing, but you're also adapting where you're going with it. And just realize this is just normal. Like we've already talked about the weather, right? You're always having to adapt in real life for the weather. Why wouldn't we have to adapt for the weather in our business as well? So this step is a really important step because if you go into business thinking, hey, it's just going to be perfect all the time, I'm going to use a boating analogy for you. In the Mississippi River up here in Minnesota, there's a place called Lake Pepin. It's several miles long. It's quite wide. You can see from side to side, but it's quite a distance. And so essentially it becomes a really big lake. And Lake Pepin in the morning, most mornings, is beautifully glass smooth. Not every morning, but if you're lucky, you can get to Lake Pepin and be at the top or the bottom of Lake Pepin at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it is beautifully glass smooth. And so when we cross Lake Pepin, we typically try to be in the vicinity so that we can be there at 7 o'clock in the morning and cross when it's easy. Why wouldn't we? Because we know that if we wait and we try around 10:30, 11, noon, 1, 2 in the afternoon, by then, just the way it works, it gets rougher. It's harder to cross. You probably have to slow down. There's just lots of turbulence. So you don't want to do that. You try to make it easy. Well, a couple years ago, we were heading north. We were on the south side of Lake Pepin. We got up early. We're getting all ready to go, and I misstepped and I broke my foot. Now we had a choice. Was I going to go to the nearby town, which was a pretty small town, and go in? I knew my foot was broken. There's no question. I had a broken foot. And was I going to go into this small town where I didn't know like what the hospital was like or whatever else, but no matter what, it was going to take a lot of time. And when we got out of there, we would still have to cross Lake Pepin and we'd be crossing it in the middle of the day. Or did we want to try to cross Lake Pepin when it was as smooth as possible and go to the larger town that was on the north side of Lake Pepin? And I had to make the decision because really I'm the one that's in pain. Well, I knew I had broken bones, not fun, but they weren't like, it wasn't a compound fracture. It was just a fracture. Just, it hurt, but I knew that it was going to hurt a lot more if I had to go through the turbulence in the middle of the day. And so I wrapped it up and we went. Now, even in taking the time to wrap it up and so forth, we kind of missed the easiest window to cross Lake Pepin. And it was a little rougher than I would have liked. But every bump that we hit and every minute that we went, we were closer to where we wanted to go. And ultimately we got there. I got into the hospital. I got my foot looked at. It was broken. I ended up back on my boat in crutches, in a boot to finish the rest of the trip. It did interfere with the rest of the trip. That night we had planned to go to an island. We had friends that were meeting us at the island. I couldn't even get off the boat anymore because for an island, you have to go down a ladder. I now have this big honkin' boot and crutches. You don't go down a ladder with, stairs that are 1 inch wide using crutches. So it interfered with our plans. It interfered with a lot of things. That was a very unexpected situation. Now, I'm not giving you a business example here exactly, but I also am because this is how it goes in business too. You have your plans. You know how it's going to go. But life happens, business happens. If you're, we've had some storms. I'm going to talk more about storms in the second half of the show. And there's been a lot of storms in business of late, in the last few years and even in the last few months. But having to adjust and adapt is just part of business. I don't even know how many ways I can say that differently, but realizing that your plans haven't survived once they come in contact with reality, whether you discover you have to rethink your ideal client, you have to rethink your delivery, you have to rethink your social media, whatever the case may be, it's okay. You will be fine. Now, many people have known my story and they say, "LeAnn, you pivot so fast." And there's pros and cons to pivoting fast. I do pivot fast. Something doesn't work, I find another way and I go for it. Sometimes I will say, sometimes it's okay to give yourself a little grace, to sit back and even allow yourself to feel the feels of, I thought it was going to be this way. Sometimes I wish I'd done a little bit more of that. I wish I'd done a little bit more. I hate to use the word mourning, but allowing myself to feel the feels before I just jump in and pivot, because you store those things, emotions, in your body if you don't release them in a healthy way. So you don't have to pivot fast. Don't do it just because you could, but do it if you can as well. Sometimes you do need to pivot fast. Maybe your life is on the line. If you don't pivot, you don't have money. If you don't have money, you don't have food. Maybe you have to pivot fast, and you can feel the feels later. And there's some value in that as well. So you need to decide where you're at and what's most important to you. And do you have a support system around you that can maybe help you through the rough times so that you can get back on course or find your new course and your new path in your business? So it really comes down to just these three things. Recognize that every journey hits bumps and that growth requires flexibility. Also recognize that success comes from learning and evolving, not sticking rigidly to a plan. If what you start with is all you ever do, you're never going to grow. You're not going to get to where you're really hoping to go, probably. And then finally, integrating new lessons, new routines, or new systems is the key to sustainable progress. So, as I've done before, I'm going to encourage you to write down the questions I'm going to throw at you next. Write them down and pause, maybe. Pause now, or take some time to record into your voice recording, whatever it might be. If you haven't done this, if this is your first episode listening, this is a very good exercise for you to do, even if you're not yet to this stage. Okay. But if you are in this right now, these questions are going to be especially valuable. So think about this, first of all. So if you're in this stage right now, what has not gone planned so far? And if you're not in this stage with your business, it's okay to take this into your life arena as well. What in your life has not gone as planned so far? I'm pretty sure you can come up with things. I mean, we grew up thinking certain things were going to happen when we became adults. Did they all happen exactly as you thought? I mean, I know I was going to go to college, meet my man, marry him, right after college, be engaged in college, marry right after college, have kids at a certain age. I had it all planned out. It didn't work out that way, and I'm so grateful, because the man that I have now been married to for 30 years wasn't at my college. I wouldn't have met him there. So, hey, you know what? There's good things coming from not always getting what you want. So, what has not gone as planned so far, and how have you reacted to those? Did I get sour and say, well, that's it? I didn't get married the day I got done with college, so I'm never going to. Well, that would have been a shot in the foot, right? So think about this. What has not gone planned so far, and how have you reacted? You can pause and come back, or let's move on to question number two. Where might you need to course correct instead of pushing harder? Maybe you're already getting a sense that something isn't quite going. It's okay to prepare in advance a little bit of a what if scenario. Where might you need to course correct? If you're trying to attract business owners, but you're on Facebook, you might be getting a sense that the business owners you want to reach aren't there. You might need to course correct and start looking on LinkedIn. So there's question number 2. Instead of pushing harder, where could you course correct in advance of needing to? Question number 3. What new habit or system or mindset could help you adjust and move forward? Mindset, man, I tell you, it's tricky. And whether you like it or not, here's some statistics. Half of your personality was probably more or less determined by the time you were 4 years old. I don't know about you, but I have very few, if any, memories from before I was 4 years old. And yet half of my personality was already established by that point. 80% of your personality by the time you're 11. You're not even in middle school. Maybe you're in middle school, but barely in middle school. By the time that 80% of your personality has been decided. And this has everything to do with your mindset and habits. 95% by the time you're 18. So, yes, if you're stuck, if things aren't going your way, if you find yourself reacting in certain ways, you might need to look into different habits, different systems, different mindsets, and it may be valuable to look into some form of coaching or advice from other people who have been there, done that. And there's so many out there. If you come over to joyminder.com, I have got a whole resource section. It's evolving with lots of great coaches that can help you through these storms. I just went through a program myself last week because I know I'm ever evolving. And I think it's healthy to do that and so that you can have that fresh perspective. Okay, question number 4. Who can you lean on for feedback, support, or perspective as you adapt? Kind of the same thing. Maybe it's somebody you hire, and maybe you do have some people in your natural ecosystem. Know who those people are, but also realize, as I've talked about in many others episodes, it's not always your friends and family. Sometimes your friends and family would just as soon see you give up this silliness of becoming an entrepreneur and go back to your profession where you were burned out and not happy. Are you doing it for them or are you doing it for you? So, yes, look for those people. Find that tribe, usually of other entrepreneurs that you can lean on for support. Again, we offer Leaders League on Monday mornings. Come on over and chat with us and talk to us. Tell us what's going on and jump in on a Q&A call. Find that feedback, support, or perspective as you're needing to adapt. That's why we get together. We share new ideas and new things that we are doing. I am constantly coming up with, directions and ideas and things that we can use to shift. So it's a good thing. And finally, how might being adaptable actually serve your vision in the long run? I'll give you an example of this one. Let's say I want to serve burned out teachers because I was a burned out teacher. If that's the only thing I say I'm ever going to do, and I can, great. There are millions of burned out teachers in the world. I want to serve burned out teachers. But if that's the only thing I ever do, I might miss out on other amazing opportunities. Let's take the example of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Amazing book, right? Oh, wait, is it a book or is it a book series? Because it started out as a book, but it developed into a whole series because of the flexibility and adaptability to say, wait, there's Chicken Soup for the Soul for the entrepreneur. There's Chicken Soup for the Soul for moms. There's Chicken Soup for the Soul for how many books have they produced at this point, right? And so being adaptable actually serves you if you can, stick with one audience, but realize that you may be able to serve many audiences. Are teachers the only profession that gets burned out? Absolutely not. Hospitality workers. I was a hospitality worker. I thought I had just I was going to not go back to college. I was making so much money as a cocktail server. Oh my goodness, the money was so good. It was amazing. I didn't need to finish college. I was making, now it would be embarrassing to admit, like $15 an hour. But that then, this is a while ago, was a lot of money. And oh, I'm so grateful for the parents that I have because they said, that's fine, LeAnn. You can not go back to college. You can stay living at home. And here's what your rent will cost. Here's what your food will cost. You have to buy your own insurance. And when I started adding all that up, $15 an hour and $400 of rent, oh my goodness, I was really going to have to, this was not all going to, I, oh, yeah. Reality set in. And I said, okay, I'm going back to college because at least if I become a teacher, which is what I was going for, or became started going for after that, actually, I knew that I would make more. Not much, but more. In my first teaching job, I think I actually did make $18 an hour. It significantly jumped up in my second teaching job, but and it's significantly more today. But everything is relative. Everything costs more today as well. My first house was it was honestly the same size of the house I live in today, almost exactly. And yet this house cost 2.5 times more than the first house that we purchased. So I don't know where I got off talking about all that, but hello, welcome to Beyond the Business Plan. My name is LeAnn. And I go on tangents once in a while. But how might being adaptable actually serve your vision in the long run? Just know that making shifts and making changes to your plans is okay. So if you haven't done so already, this would be a great place to stop. You can rewind, revisit those questions, write down whatever comes to you. There is no right or wrong answer to these things. And then we're going to move on to some other practical steps for this part of the sailing system. So I've talked about this before, systems, and I'm going to encourage you. You can go back to episode 16, which is called From Chaos to Clarity, The Power of Simple Systems. Systems can save you. Establish some daily, weekly business routines. And I'm going to expand on that, not just daily and weekly, but monthly, quarterly, annually. Take time on a regular basis to review. How are things going? How did I think they were going to go? Can I bring those more into alignment or do I need to make a shift? Reflection matters. Whether you want to do it Sunday night before you start your week or Friday afternoon after the end of a busy week when everything's kind of fresh in your head so you can let it go for the weekend. If you're lucky enough to have a business, that's Monday through Friday at least. Or whenever your break is. If you have a business that thrives Thursday through Sunday, then maybe decide when is your weekend and allow for that time of reflection during that time of your week or month or quarter. Definitely. I mean, there's some really, really great books out there. I'm trying to think of the one I'm thinking of right now. Pia Silva is her name. She talks about having a 13-week plan and that you take, I think it's 13, maybe yeah, I do a 17-week plan. And then I have a 16 weeks of work, 1 week of vacation, 16 weeks of work, 1 week of vacation. Then I know that I have 3 weeks of vacation built into my system. She has a different plan. I thought her book was brilliant. I didn't like the name just because I don't choose to. Use language that is anyway there. It's a good book though. Go look for Pia Silva, and really how she laid out running your business and allowing time to enjoy your business, I think is valuable. Okay, integrate and adapt. Practical step number 2: collect customer feedback and make improvements. This is definitely an area where you might find customers are saying, hey, or clients, or however you're calling them, are like, yeah, I thought I was getting this, I got that.
If that is what you plan to give them and they were just disappointed, well, then you need to probably adapt how you're proposing what you're going to give them so that your customers are happy. You want raving fans. On the flip side, if they're saying that they expected this and they got that, and you thought you were giving this, again, it's and for any listeners, I'm talking with my hands as I always do. I hope you could follow what I just said. But if you promised A and they said they got B and you thought you delivered A, well, then again, they're going to tell you that if you collect customer feedback and really work with that to make your improvements, make those shifts. And do create and update standard operating procedures. This is point number 3. Have standard operating procedures. This is going to serve you in so many ways because hopefully, eventually, as much as you want to be a solopreneur, it's nice to have some people take some things off your plate. Hiring a social media manager is a wonderful thing if you don't love doing social media because social media kind of is a part of business these days. So if you don't love to do it, it's great to be able to offload things to other people. Maybe it's for you, it's accounting. Maybe for you, it's some other form of marketing or managing your business. But usually you need to do it first, or at least lay out some sort of an operating procedure so that when you offload it or give it to somebody else to do, they know what to do. I have a whole layout, and I can help people develop this for themselves of exactly what does Joyminder look like? What images do we use? What colors do we use? What branding? The whole system. And so as people come in, I give them this whole thing so that they can see it. They can understand how to do various things. And I have to update that periodically as well. That's where checking in quarterly or annually comes in, making sure that you're reviewing what you've got. Number 4, adjust your offers based on response. If you are getting a ton of response for an offer that takes a lot more time than you thought it would, maybe you need to increase what you're asking for that. Or maybe you're getting no response and it would be the easiest thing in the world for you to do. Well, maybe you can lower the price point on that one, deliver it to more people, and make more money. There's so many ways to look at that, but write it down, adjust offers based on response, and think about what could that mean for you if you're in the season, or what might it mean for you if you're still dreaming about this season of your business. And do dream about this season because it's coming. Systemize. Okay, number 5, systemize communications. Have a system. Let me say that again. Have a system. And a third time, system have a system. Both ways. Email lists, client onboarding, have a system. This goes kind of back to operating procedures and kind of different. So again, episode 16, season 1, episode 16, all about systems. Go back, review that. It's a 30-minute episode, but I think you'll get a lot of value from that. And finally, set up regular check-ins for progress. I've talked about this already, but this is my final reminder. Check up. Set up time to do a checkup from the neck up, from the heart out, however you need to phrase it. Figure out your system for having regular check-ins for your progress and make adjustments. Whew. So, I have made these adjustments countless times. Really, I didn't know I wanted to serve burned out professionals when I started Joyminder. I thought I just wanted to help people start businesses. And it had to get niched down. It had to get tighter and tighter so that I could really serve the people best that I know how to serve best. Because if you want to start a pizza restaurant, I'd love to introduce you to somebody who can help you with that, but I'm not the person. Okay. So, niching down and finding the right people for you to work with, and maybe developing that community where you can help them find, if you're not the right person, that you can help them find the right situation for them. Wow, that's such a blessing. That's such a blessing. And we'll cover that again in episode 5. All right. It's normal for the journey to get bumpy. Totally normal. Hopefully not with a broken foot, but it could happen. And adapting keeps you moving forward. But what about the moments when you really hit a storm? I'm not talking a broken foot on a slightly bumpy, but on a slightly bumpy lake, but maybe more like a hurricane. Setbacks, criticism, crisis, or fatigue. What if you get burned out in the business that you started because you had been burned out? After the break, let's talk about real resilience.
Hey, sale setters, are you ready to jumpstart your entrepreneurial journey or give your business a powerful refresh? Join us at the next and Restart Your Business Summit, where you'll discover the tools, strategies, and inspiration you need to thrive. Learn more at joyminder.com. That's JOYMINDER.com, and look for the Restart Your Business Summit icon. Don't miss out. Your future business awaits.
And we're back. Welcome back. We are jumping into the second to the last letter of the sailing system, the letter N. And we're talking about navigating the storms. So here, let's define it first. Building resilience, overcoming setbacks, managing stress, leading through adversity, and sustaining momentum during tough times. So you may know that I plan to take my business literally on the river, not the road, the river. Move everything onto a boat, head down the Mississippi River, go through Lake Pepin again, but this time head north to south and keep on going. Eventually, we'll get down to the Gulf, and possibly we're going to go over into the Bahamas and be there for a little while. Now, when we leave Minnesota, we will not leave in April, May, or probably even June, because there can be a lot of water, a lot of debris in the river at that time. During those parts of the year, you can go on the river, but you have to be careful. You have to go slower. You have to be on alert for floating trees and different things like that. So it's wiser to wait. Also, you don't want to get down to the Gulf before the end of October. Why? Because it's hurricane season until then. You want to get into the Gulf after hurricane season has hopefully passed. But if we stay in the Gulf and we go around Florida, we go over to the Bahamas and we decide this is amazing, we want to stay here for 6 months, we're going to find ourselves in hurricane season again in the Bahamas. So you can plan for some storms, you can plan around things, but you can't know if a storm is coming. And let's just give a really practical example. In 2020, I had a thriving new business because in 2019, I went through a storm all of its own, but I pivoted fast and started a new business, and it was a travel company. Yay! I love to travel. I love to help people travel. Let's all travel together. And I make money. So I worked really hard. I did some unusual things even to build a travel company. Part of it is I started driving Uber, lots of reasons there, but I found that I was bringing people to and from the airport. Guess what? I met so many people that liked to travel or had to travel, and I had the opportunity to work with them. So I built my travel business really fast. It was kind of an accidentally brilliant move. And then in February, I was recognized on stage as being one of the people who had built my business pretty fast. And then March 2020 happened. COVID. And nobody is traveling unless they absolutely had to. And then people were nervous about it, as we all know. I mean, it was just such a weird time in life. And it didn't just affect the travel industry, but it had a huge effect on the travel industry for many years. That's an unexpected storm. That's a hurricane coming in on your business. Think about the restaurants. Think about all the hospitals. I mean, all sorts of businesses. Obviously, so many were affected. And so, what do you do in a situation like that? Pivot? Maybe. But having a plan for what might, you don't want to plan for a storm, okay? But once again, just like with anything else, storms can happen. And when they do, you do want to have some resilience built in. Know that you can do this. Again, this is where having a tribe of people that you can come back to, that you can connect with when things are starting to show up and you're thinking, whoa, I think I'm heading into a storm, where maybe they can throw you a life preserver, that they can pull you in and maybe you can go through the storm together. It's a really, really valuable situation to have a tribe that you can rely on when you're going through a storm. So, if you are in the situation, you're facing adversity, disappointment, your business just maybe disappeared. AI, AI has had a big impact on a lot of businesses in the last couple of years. Go back and listen to my shows. I interviewed Melanie Johnson a little bit ago. Look for her. She's pivoted to use AI to help people get their voices out and get published. I talked with Daniel. His episode just was maybe my last one. I can't remember for sure. And, he is a copywriter. How does a copywriter exist in the world of AI? And yet, he's still doing it. He's out there making a way. Now, he wanted to be a copywriter before AI came onto the scene. And so, what are we doing? Jeff Clapp, I talked with him. He's in SEO. SEO is for websites and search engine optimization. Great. Now, how does it shift? How does it change with AI? So, all of these people have kind of gone through a storm, if you will, of the advent of AI. But navigating storms is about having the inner strength and resilience, the emotional resilience, to know you have what it takes to get through it, and really getting that support system, finding your support system when the going really, really gets hard. So even with the best preparation and adaptation, rough seas just are part of every journey. There's no way that we are going to do a 7,000-mile journey without having some form of storm. I mean, there will be storms. Even in Minnesota, believe it or not, we have some pretty wicked summer storms up here. And I've been on the boat a couple of times during some pretty wicked storms. They've ripped through our marinas, and we don't have hurricanes in Minnesota. We do have tornadoes. And so, what happens when faced with things like that? But this step is about not giving up, believing more in yourself, believing more in your dreams than believing in the storm. Let me say that again. Getting ready for a storm or getting ready to know you can manage a storm is making sure you go back even to the beginning of the sailing system. Know your why, know why you're doing it, know who you're serving, and believe that you have a calling to do it. That anchor will get you through so much and keep you from just washing out in a storm. Find new ways through and around obstacles. Talk with more people. And you know what? Sometimes you do have to start over. I've had to start over multiple times, and I've never met an entrepreneur that didn't have to. So if you're a professional, you're burned out, you're thinking, I want to be an entrepreneur, we welcome you. The world needs you. And what you're imagining right now may or may not be what you do later on. Later this week, I have an entrepreneur that I'm in, an episode I'll be dropping in just 2 days because I'm delayed on dropping this episode, by the way, just telling you. I'm delayed because I ran into a microstorm, a microburst, if you will, last week. And it just wasn't possible. It wasn't healthy for me to actually do the episode. Earlier this season, I think it was a 12-minute episode, and I think I called it something like the episode I didn't want to have happen. And I didn't want to do that again last week. But there was just no good way for me to put together this episode, which is a very important episode, and do it last week. So I didn't. I made the shift. It's just an adjustment. It didn't mean I didn't do it because here's the episode. You're listening to it. But it meant making the adjustment to make it happen. You don't have to give up though. So these are important points. All right. So speaking of important points, get out your journal, get out your recorder. Here's some things for you to think about. You can go ahead and write these down. Again, as always, pause, reflect, come back. Number one, what recent setback or challenge are you still feeling the impact of? And again, this applies to whether you've started your business already or if you're thinking of starting a business, because wherever you are is somewhat likely to repeat unless you've done some real deep personal work. And I encourage that as well. We tend to repeat mistakes of the past. So if you've recently gone through something, really take a look at it. Is that a pattern that you're running in your life, in your business? Because if you're running it in your personal life, you're probably going to end up running it in your business as well. You can root that out early. Find the right coach, meet the right group, whatever. I mean, if you want some recommendations, I mean, go through Tony Robbins UPW or contact me about the program I just went through last week. I really found some great value in looking at my life and looking at patterns I run because we all do. Like I mentioned in the first half of this, 85%, 80% of our personality was determined more or less by the time we were 11. Can we change those patterns? Absolutely. Hallelujah and thank you. We can change, but we have to decide to change and we have to know what to change. So, question number one, what recent setback or challenge are you still feeling the impact of? And then number two, following up on that, how did you respond? Did you fight? Did you freeze? Did you flight? Or did you adapt? Think about that. How did you respond? And was your response, just what level was it? Was it a negative emotion? Was it anger or apathy or overwhelm? Or how did you, one thing like that? Again, this would be a great time to look at that. Find a coach who can work with you on it and prepare you for the next time. Because there will be a next time. We attract things happening over and over again. In fact, I mean, this is not, thankfully, my situation, although I think maybe 30 years ago it was, that I would attract the same type of person over and over again to date. And they were all really not people I should have been dating. Or they were just not for me. They were not aligned with my values and what I really wanted in life. And so until you break that cycle, though, you will keep attracting the same types of situations. So know how you're responding, and then you can make a choice to make a change. So, question number three, who has been your anchor or source of strength when things got tough? In the situation that you're thinking of, or in situations in general, who has been your source of strength? And did you reach out to them? And if you didn't, why not? What's keeping you from reaching out to your source of strength? Think about that. Number four, what helps you recharge or reset after a hard season? Maybe it's go on vacation. Maybe you're blessed enough to say, I'm going to just take a break. But maybe not. Maybe you don't have that luxury. So then how do you recharge or reset after a hard season when you still need to keep going? This again is where systems can come in handy because maybe you can keep running some systems that kind of keep things going enough while you also work in some time to work on yourself or on your business and figure out where your new navigation point will be. And finally, and this is really important, what did this storm teach you about yourself, your vision, or your mission? Let's go back to my second business inside of 12 months exploding and me feeling like it wasn't my fault. Was it? Now, again, I don't want to play the blame or shame here, but I know that there were things that I contributed to the first thing, the first way things happened in 2019. 2020, you know, wasn't I wasn't at fault for the fact that the travel industry got shut down. But you know what I didn't have is any sort of a backup plan. And I'm going to bring up a piece of scripture here. This is from the book of Ecclesiastes, which is in the Old Testament of the Bible, if you're familiar. It's chapter 11, verse 2. And I used to have this on my Facebook page. It says, invest in 7 ventures. Yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. Whoosh. That's a big one. Because wow, a lot of people say, well, I can barely keep track of one thing. How could I keep track of 7 or 8? And I get that. You don't have to be fully out there doing 7 or 8 different things, but don't close yourself off from other opportunities. Keep in touch with other things that could go well for you. I love affiliate marketing. And so part of what I do is I keep open to options with affiliate marketing. I'm very excited that shortly I will be sharing a great new affiliate marketing opportunity for everyone that you can take advantage of. And this really can serve almost any type of business. So no matter what you have in mind, you might be able to find other people that do something similar and you can collaborate together to put together a way that all of you can benefit. All of you can gain new customers. All of you can earn income, and yet it becomes a very simple system to set up. Oh, and it's free to set up, which is mind blowing. Can't wait to introduce that to you. That will be coming. But that's something that I'm always staying open to those opportunities because I want to serve you. I want to serve you, or if not you, then the other people that I'm serving as well. So keeping open to opportunities. Also, let's talk about another storm that has happened in the last year or so. Network marketing. Network marketing is different than affiliate marketing. It's also something I am currently involved with, and I love it. I think it's great. But in the last 12 months, we've had several network marketing companies close down. In fact, I was part of an affiliate marketing product and it decided to no longer pay commissions. That's a storm. When you're making money, you're I've got money coming in. I've got money coming in. Hey, it's that day of the month. I've got money coming in and suddenly you don't. That's a storm. So have other ways that you can get out there, pivot fast, or at least have other ways that you can be making money along the way so that maybe not everything is riding on one thing. So if you want to look that up or you want to read more from that chapter, it's Ecclesiastes 11. And really, there's a whole lot more in this chapter in the Bible. Go ahead and check it out. But that is something that's something I learned from going through storms. Don't here's the proverbial don't put all your eggs in one basket. um, all right, so some practical steps. We've got 6 practical steps you can write down. And if you haven't gone through and thought about those things I just listed, again, pause, rewind, you know the drill. Okay, so 6 practical steps you can take. Address and troubleshoot setbacks. Don't let them just, oh, well, that was just one time. If your tech failed you one time, your tech will fail you again. Have a backup system, have a backup plan. If sales slow down last summer, guess what? They're probably going to slow down next summer. What are you going to do? Real estate. Let's talk about that. I have a real estate license. Real estate in Minnesota kind of slows down between generally September and February. And because people are not really wanting to do things that's going to cause them to move in the middle of winter. But in February, it starts to pick up again because then you're starting to look towards spring and you could move in the spring or the summer. And maybe if you have kids, you want to move in the spring or ideally the summer so that they're situated and you're settled before they go back to school. So there's this rhythm in real estate that happens. So if you're a real estate agent and you know you sell X number of houses during your hot market and might only sell one or two or zero during your cold market, what are you doing during that cold market? Maybe you make plenty during your hot market, and during your cold market, you're homeschooling or you're taking care of your kids or you're on vacation or you live in a different state because it's not easy to do real estate from another state. But maybe you have a real estate license in two different states that have different hot markets. That's another option. So think about this, address and troubleshoot setbacks as you find them. Find the solutions that you may be able to apply in the future. Number two, practice resilience skills and stress management. Figure out what works for you. I can't stress this enough. Find a great coach. This comes back to mindset, but you can know yourself as well. If you know that when stress happens, you do best if you go for a walk, do deep breathing, roll your shoulders. Those are minor stress things, but whatever works for you, journaling, um, just have some skills that you can take with you and be able to pull out and act on if you need to when a storm rears its ugly head. And number three, ask for help or mentorship. Probably almost no matter whatever business you have in your heart to start, somebody else has done it. There is no new thing under the sun. Except Jeff Bezos and Amazon. Okay, that's different. No, just kidding. But even there's things that you're going to do that somebody else has done. Look for those people. Ask them, what storms have they gone through? So now again, you're kind of preparing for those storms. Ask for the help or the mentorship. And number four, revisit why you started. Storms make it tough sometimes to keep going forward. I still do have a travel business, but you notice it's not my only business. So revisit why you started. I still love to travel. I still like to make money off of my travel. I still love to be able to extend discounts and opportunities for friends and family to travel well or to help people get started in a travel business. You want to do that? Let's go. Right? So if, revisit why you started, see if it still applies, but also look for those new options and opportunities. So number five, learn from failures and pivot where needed. I'm telling you, sometimes you just have to stop. Take a look at what you really want. See if maybe what you were doing wasn't really getting you there anyway. And how can you realign now to head the direction of what you really want? If what you really want is to hit the river or hit the road with your business, but you choose to be a realtor, there's a mismatch there. If you're a realtor, you have to show houses. I was on the river for my birthday one time when I got a call. Hey, I really need to see this house. And they have an open house. And it's only this afternoon at 2:00. And if I were able to magically not be on the river, it would have taken me 2 hours to drive there each way. So it was just not conducive to how I wanted to really live my life. Now, real estate is amazing. I'm blessed that I just met with a friend yesterday. She said her son wants to go into real estate. And I said, you know what? He can take the test the day he turns 18. He can have the classes done even before, but let me have a conversation with him so he understands the pros and the cons, what he'll be expected to do. I love encouraging people to go into real estate. If I met a woman recently, she's like, I just know I'm supposed to help people, and I have this vision of how I'm going to help people in real estate, and I'm going to pray over their homes and pray over their families, and this is just they won't even know I'm doing it because this is where I just feel called. I hope she is wildly successful and that it matches everything that she anticipates that real estate will be. But I thought the same thing a few years ago, and then I had some situations where I'm like, this is not fully in alignment with what I want to do. I want to help people start businesses. I want to help people become realtors, become travel agents, join network marketing, become affiliate people, run summits, have a podcast. I love all of that. But the actual being a realtor, being a travel agent for people, there's a difference. Do you hear the difference? So again, even if you realize that where you thought you were going and where you're going now are different, it's okay. Number five, oh, we just did number five. Learn from failures, pivot where needed, and it doesn't have to be a failure. It can just be a, wow, I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming that on my birthday in the river, I would be called to go drive for 2 hours. I found a solution, by the way. I didn't leave the river. I didn't not enjoy my birthday, but I had to pivot, and then it made me realize maybe this wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. And then number six, review your finances and adjust your budget as needed. If you're humming along and you're making the money and you're making the money and you're making the money and it disappears because the network marketing company decided to quit or the real estate market went soft because interest rates went up or COVID hits and you no longer, what are you going to do? Be prepared. And by the way, I haven't really talked about this, I don't think, on any show yet, but live below your means. Please, 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 please learn to live below your means. Just because you start making money really does not mean you need to go and spend it all. Again, live below your means. Put some money aside so that when storms hit, you are prepared. And then you can adjust, live a little bit lower if you need to while you're getting things back and ramped up. Please, please, please learn to live below your means. My ultimate dream is to live on 10% of what I'm earning. That does not, by the way, do not hear I'm planning to bank 90%. I am not planning to bank 90%. I wish to live on 10%, and that includes putting aside what I need. And then that 90% will be able to be living generously or living in the extra things that I want to enjoy. But my basic needs, food, shelter, communication, the basic needs will all fit into that 10% of everything. Am I there? Obviously not, because I just said will. I'm not living on 10% yet, but this is my goal. This is my dream. Doesn't have to be your dream, just saying. But review your finances. This is number six. Preparing to navigate those storms, review your finances now and frequently. Maybe not daily, maybe not weekly, but at least monthly, quarterly, annually. And adjust your budget if a storm hits so that you can not be concerned for your life or your well being, because that can happen if you don't have this planned. So, resilience building practices, we've already talked about those a little bit. Journaling, walking, calling a mentor, setting boundaries. I've had to do that recently too, where I'm like, you know what? I love new opportunities, love them. But right now, as I'm preparing for the next summit, I am closed off to new opportunities. People are still coming up with them, and I'm like, great, set a date in October or set a date after such and such a date, and I will talk to you about it then. I'm setting the boundaries to say, you may have the most amazing thing ever, but I have a commitment to running the best Restart Your Business Summit ever, so I can run the next best one after that. So, um, set some boundaries. Like I said, journaling, walking, calling a mentor. If you have to, grabbing a pillow, screaming, shouting, crying, punching it, you know, Pillow, please, but don't hurt yourself. Whatever you need to do, get through, allow yourself the feels as if you can, if you have time to. I encourage it. Find a mentor, find a coach, if you can at all. Nope, I probably haven't mentioned, go back and listen to season 1, episode 13, Freedom, Family, and the Entrepreneurial Journey, What No One Tells You. That's all about navigating tough seasons and sustaining relationships. So, first half I mentioned episode 16. Now I'm actually going back to episode 13 about freedom, family, entrepreneurial journey, what no one tells you. And we are wrapping up. Adapting to change and weathering storms are what set real entrepreneurs apart from dreamers. You can be in the dreaming stage today. I hope some of you are, but be ready. Navigating storms is part of it. If today's episode gave you fresh tools or hope for the hard times, I would love to hear your story. Remember, all the past Sailing System episodes await you in the archives. You can find them on YouTube, on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you go. RSS.com. This is where I publish them, by the way. Initially, they just go everywhere else as well. And you can go back and review those at any time. Next episode, the 5th of this series, is the closing stage of your journey. But it's not really the closing stage. It's the next stage. It's the beginning of the new stage of your journey, how to grow and guide others forward. So it might be the last letter in the word sailing, but it's definitely not the end of the journey. So until then, I hope that you will check out guest insights, summit details, or the sailing workbook in the show notes below, and give yourself credit for every lesson you have learned along the way. If you're looking for the full Sailing System overview, again, that was on chapter 22. Be sure to download your free guide from the show notes below. And our journey is not over. Before our next solo episode drops on September 16th, 2025, you'll hear from 2 more outstanding guests, one of whom is a featured speaker next week at our September 2025 summit. Lynn's real-world stories and insights will add fresh energy and perspective to everything we've been discussing. Now, his specialty is actually in finance. So if finance is a concern for you or something you're wondering about as you start an entrepreneurial journey or as you're in it, that will be a great episode to check out. That will be episode number 32. And then following that, I'm very excited to have a special show dropping on Wednesday this week because it's Monday. I'm dropping it. Tuesday, Lynn is out. Wednesday, I will be speaking with a business owner who has been able to live the life of his dreams, living where he wants, which is currently in Costa Rica, but also being able to travel as much as he wants and pivot when he wants. And I just think that you'll really enjoy that episode in our conversation because he can do this because he took the chance to start a business. And did he weather some storms? He certainly did. So you won't want to miss that one either. So thank you again for sailing along on Beyond the Business Plan and for choosing to unlock your joyful business potential with me. I'm LeAnn Lyon, LeAnnLyon.com. You can visit us at joyminder.com. Of course, all the links are below. And remember, you don't have to do this alone. A community makes the journey richer, and I would be honored to be part of yours. If you enjoyed today's episode, a like, a subscribe, a comment, or all of those help me so much. Until next time, keep shining and aligning with your purpose and spreading the joy. I'm LeAnn Lyon, your Chief Joy Officer, signing off. Keep leading with heart, and I'll catch you on the next wave of success. Hey, coffee aficionados and entrepreneurs, LeAnn Lyon here. Are you craving that caffeine kick, but looking for a healthier alternative? Well, 9 years ago, I discovered the ultimate collection of energizing options to fuel your entrepreneurial spirit without the jitters. Discover your next favorite pick-me-up today and keep your business dreams brewing strong. Hear what it did for me by visiting this website, whyIlovemycoffee.com. Yes, that's the URL, whyIlovemycoffee.com, because your peak performance deserves more than just another cup of joe.
Thank you all for joining us today on Beyond the Business Plan. It's been a joy and a privilege to share this space with you. For more inspiring stories, tools, and actionable insights, make sure to follow us on your favorite video platform. Visit my website, LeAnnLyon.com, and keep leading with heart. And I'll catch you on the next wave of success.